Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Polkadot and the DOT token. We're going to be looking at its valuation against USD and against Bitcoin, and then we're going to be making comparisons again to the DOT Bitcoin valuation of today to the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation 5 years ago, so that we can get an idea of some potential theoretical upper limits. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. We're almost at 20,000 people in the Telegram chat. So if you're looking for a community, that's the community you should be joining. Let's go ahead and jump in. So Polkadot, we've talked about this before. A train to be on for the market cycle. Do you have a ticket to ride? And by the way, I do have that game. If you look over my shoulder, you can probably see it somewhere on the shelf. The ticket to ride, as we've been discussing, a lot of times comes at the 20-day moving average. We talked about this a lot. So if you go back, we discussed this as being the accumulation phase. And then ever since we got into this bull market, DOT at the 20-day moving average has been a pretty good area of support. It found support at $5 back in December. It found support at $8 back in January. It found support at around $16 in February, and then it just found support at around $30 in late February. So far, DOT continues to just be a really impressive train. It's not as flashy as some of the other moves we've seen, right? We saw ADA go 60x in 11 months. This one is more of a slower, methodical move up. And it's funny that I say slower because it still has gone up 10x in less than a few months. So DOT is still a champ of this market cycle, in my opinion. Now, some of the things we can look at, we notice, is that, well, here, once it left the 20-day, it moved up a modest 137% from the 20-day moving average. Here it left the 20-day and it moved up a modest 142% from the 20-day moving average. When it left the 20-day moving average here, it moved up a modest 151%. So far, 3 times of leaving the 20-day moving average, each time yielded at least a 100% move. And what's interesting is they actually increased. This one was 136%, 142%, and 151%. Well, so far from the current test of the 20-day moving average, we are in fact up a humble 16%. Now, if we were to go up 100% over, say, a few weeks or something, then that could put DOT at around $6,400. If we were to continue this of putting in more and more gains or higher percentage moves as we continue on, let's say we went up to 160%, then maybe an $83 DOT is on the cards. I do think there is a decent chance DOT will make it 2-3 figures this market cycle. Maybe the market cycle, or maybe it won't happen in the immediate future, but I do think that at some point DOT will make it 2-3 figures. It's not financial advice. Of course, I could be wrong about that, but that's just what I think will happen. Now, one of the things we've also discussed is how similar the DOT Bitcoin valuation looks to the Ethereum Bitcoin launch back in 2015, 2016. You can see how similar they are, and just to reiterate, we had a Q4 bleed after a launch in August for Ethereum. And then in January, it moved back up to this prior local top and then blasted through in February. That's Ethereum Bitcoin 2015, 2016. Here you have DOT Bitcoin launched in August, bled in Q4, back up in January, breakthrough in February. Now, if we take measured moves, we can see that from this point down, DOT bled about 70%. Well, Ethereum also bled a similar amount. If you go from, or look at these sort of ranges here, around 70% or so, and then back up to the top. Now, what did Ethereum do after that, though? That's what's more important. So going into February and into March, what did Ethereum do? Well, against Bitcoin, from this point, it rallied another 490%. It did then capitulate against Bitcoin over the rest of the year, essentially, and it dropped 80% against Bitcoin through December of 2016, and then in 2017, Ethereum went on another run against Bitcoin. Okay, so what has DOT done so far? Well, it did the same type of move. So you can see it had the same type of move, But then if we look at the current day, from this point up, it's up about 25 or maybe 24% or so against Bitcoin. We know that Ethereum went up almost 500% against Bitcoin. I would expect DOT to not make as significant gains against Bitcoin as Ethereum did back then. The Ethereum market cap was much smaller. But even say, I mean, let's cut it in half and say a 250% move against Bitcoin. Where would that put it? Well, right now it's at 72,000 Satoshis. A 100% move up would put it at around 117,000 Satoshis from this point. And if we were to go say 250% move up, then that would put it at around 200,000 Satoshis. This would obviously be a fairly substantial move, and for it to go up, 2.5x, or 3.5x, I should say, because we know that 250% is a 303.5x move, because we know 100% is 2x. If it were to go up, say 3.5x against Bitcoin, and we had a stable Bitcoin, which we almost assuredly will not have a stable Bitcoin, but if we did have a stable Bitcoin and DOT went up another 3x or so, you're looking at $100 DOT. Okay, I mean, I know that sounds crazy to think about $100 DOT when it was just at $5 and $3 not that long ago. But if history is any indication, and if DOT continues to emulate what Ethereum did 5 years before, then it seems like it could be theoretically possible. Okay, now a lot of this will, of course, as always, be dependent on the health of Bitcoin. Can Bitcoin stay healthy? And so far, Bitcoin seems relatively healthy. It's above 50K. Institutions are buying it. The most of the pullbacks so far are getting eaten up relatively quickly. Therefore, it does, give altcoins a fairly nice environment to make significant moves. If you look at the .USD valuation, and we just sort of see our moves off the 20-day, they're not always immediate, right? I mean, they're not always immediate. This one, we sort of rode the 20-day for a while. We bounced off the top of it, when came back to it 5 or 6 days later, and then we had a major move. So far, DOT is not having any major breakouts against USD. It's more or less just riding up the 20-day moving average. So this is what we've been talking about getting a ticket to ride the DOT train consistently so far, holding support at the 20-day moving average. So we'll continue to follow this and see how it transpires as we continue on in the market cycle. Another interesting thing is if you look at the DOT Ether valuation, it's also looking very similar to the DOT Bitcoin valuation, right? Very, very similar. And so this will be interesting to see if the DOT Ether valuation also continues to emulate what DOT Bitcoin is doing in terms of DOT outperforming Bitcoin and DOT outperforming Ethereum, and how long that can last. Because that's the interesting thing. Not only is DOT outperforming Bitcoin, but it's also outperforming Ethereum. And then obviously that gives us a nice little smiley face there. But if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, check out the Telegram channel in the description below. And remember, we have the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com, or if you want a link to the altcoin season sale, check out the description below for the link to that. You get access to the weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the risk dashboard, and more. We even actually recently launched something new and exciting for the premium members. So if you are wanting to figure out what that is, check out the premium list and you will get access to that. That'll wrap it up for the video. We will check back in on the DOT train at least once a week, I'm guessing. So we will wrap it up there. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time. Bye.